We're all doing so much. We're working, raising kids and hobbies and church, and just think about everything that's going on in your life. And it makes sense that you guys are busy and start to miss each other. Then we slowly start to drift and we end up feeling like married roommates. But here's what I've learned. Hello, I'm Greg Smalley. I've been married for 32 years, and these are the 5 things that every husband should know. When I got married, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what it takes to be a good husband. But before we jump in, we encourage you to subscribe for weekly videos, like this video, and go ahead and ring the notification bell. All right, so let's get into it. Number 1 is spiritual intimacy. Man, when I got married, I was so intimidated. I thought that Erin, my wife, would want this pastor, this worship leader, this person who's going to get her up at 5 a.m. and lead in this riveting devotion. And I put so much pressure on myself that I really wasn't doing much of anything. What I wish I had known is that the 2 things that the researchers have found that make the biggest difference in terms of our spiritual connection as a couple is number 1, praying together. And again, that felt so intimidating. What do we do to fold our hands, get on our knees? All I've done over all these years is I simply ask my wife, hey, what's one thing that I can pray for you about tomorrow? And the beauty is the things that she will say, I'm like learning stuff. I'm keeping updated and current in her life, as well as having an opportunity then to pray over her about what's going on in her life. The other big one is going to church together. And that's so important because that creates a community of people, that now we have people who are supporting our marriage, that we're friends with, and we all need that sort of support. Marriage is not an individual sport, it's a team sport, and church provides the best team that helps to encourage and strengthen and hold us accountable within our marriage. Okay, so number 2 is biblical leadership. Again, this was an area that I really had no clue on. I watched my dad, who was married for 50 some years, do this, and I was so intimidated. I thought that really biblical leadership meant that I needed to make decisions for us, to talk about it. But if we couldn't agree that okay, that's your job, make the decision. And that is not biblical leadership at all. As a matter of fact, one of the best things that I've learned is to lead is not just making decisions. It's actually looking at the major areas of your marriage and asking yourself, how am I leading out? For example, conflict. When Erin and I get into a conflict, am I leading us to repair that conflict? Making decisions. Am I leading us through a process that says that we're on the same team? Either we win together or we lose together. So let's figure out something that feels good to both of us. What about, am I leading out, making sure that I'm pursuing her around time, making sure that we're having our date nights and that we're at the end of the night asking each other about our highs and lows? See, I can initiate that, lead into those areas. What about emotional connection? That's so important for Erin. She wants to be seen by me. And so I want to lead in making sure that I'm pursuing those kinds of conversations. See, that's leading when we look at all these areas, not just decision making, and we lead out and pursue those things within our marriage. All right, number 3, good conflict versus bad conflict. You see, when I got married, I was such a conflict avoider. I just didn't want to rock the boat. I didn't see the value of it. I just wanted us just to figure out how to get back along and keep going. Now I know the incredible value of conflict. In James, it says, when you go through trials, consider that an opportunity. I now understand the true value of conflict is this, that it can help you get to some of the deepest levels of intimacy if you kind of walk through that door of conflict. The opportunity is that I get to learn something probably about me. Most certainly, I get to learn something about my wife, or I'm learning something about our marriage that maybe needs to change or we need to address. It's now, in my mind, an opportunity. I'm not afraid of conflict. I know conflict needs to be done in a healthy way, so I need to make sure that I'm being gentle with Erin, that I'm really seeking to understand her, to listen, to empathize, to validate what she's saying. See, as we practice healthy conflict, that takes us into that deepest levels of connection. And now we've both grown and learned about each other, and that's truly the value of conflict. All right, so number 4, this is the value of creating a marriage that feels like the safest place on earth. Safety, something I never would have thought about. But here's what I've learned. Erin so deeply longs to be seen, to be fully known. She wants to be vulnerable with me, and the only way that my wife will ever open up to show me what's really going on inside of her is if she feels safe. When someone feels safe, their heart will open, and then intimacy happens. When Erin opens her heart, see, then I get a view into the deepest parts of who she is. And when I can see that, the connection, I mean, for our wives, they so desperately long for that. And again, there's no way to get her to open unless she feels safe. So ask her this question: what is it when I do it helps you to feel safe so that you're willing to really let me see all of who you are? And as she tells you those things, now you've got the information. Now you want to do those things. The safer she feels, the more likely that she's going to open to you. And the more you're going to be able to see and connect with who she really is. And that is one of the truest forms of intimacy and connection that we can ever experience. All right, number 5 is busyness. It's really learning how to resist the natural drift that happens within our relationship. We're all doing so much. You know, we're working, raising kids and hobbies and church, and just think about everything that's going on in your life. And it makes sense that you guys are busy and start to miss each other. Well, as we start to miss each other, then we slowly start to drift and we end up feeling like married roommates. And I tell you, that's happened to Erin and I. I think two of the things that we've learned to do that have made such a big difference is, number 1, that I need just a quick little daily check-in to ask her how she's doing. And I simply say, hey, tell me about what was the best part of your day, the high of your day, and then the low of your day. And that helps me to keep current, and I'm learning about her, so we're not drifting. So do a little 10-minute check-in every day. The other one, though, that I think is just as important is to make sure you're having some fun and you're having your dates, you're doing something to where you guys are just laughing and being together, but you've got to protect that time. See, the temptations begin to talk about the kids and talk about the budget and talk about all the stuff that you have going on. And that's not protecting that time. This time is where we can just be together and laugh and just ask each other questions and just enjoy each other's company, and most certainly protect that time from conflict. When Erin and I are out on our date night and conflict happens, we set that aside. We say, we're not going to do that now, we will do that later, because we need that time, because that's how we're fighting against that busyness that's true, and therefore the drift that's naturally going to take place. Hey, and if you're looking for more insights on how to grow your marriage, check out our marriage assessment. What it's going to show you is 3 strengths of your marriage and then 3 growth areas that will allow you guys to then think about what's the one thing that we really want to focus on maybe over the next several weeks to keep growing in your marriage. And we'll go ahead and link to that below. Hey, and if you found this helpful, go ahead and like the video. Also subscribe for weekly videos, because we want to see your marriage thrive in Christ.